Good morning, everyone. We're about to start this public hearing. Again, good morning. On behalf of the members of the Standing Committee on Executive Appointment and Government Investigation, we would like to welcome Governor Palacios and Lieutenant Governor Apatang's representative, Mr. Paul Regis, along with Amishai, the appointee, Mr. Lilio B. Tipos, elected official dignitaries, and members of the general public. Before we proceed with this public hearing, let me first introduce the member of the Standing Committee. To my right side of the aisle is the floor leader of the Senate, Senator Manglona from the 1st Senatorial District. And next to him is Senator Corina Magofnia from the 3rd Senatorial District. And next to her is Senator Castro from the 3rd Senatorial District. And to my left side of the aisle is the Vice President of the Senate, Senator Carl Neighbors. And next to him is Senator Calvo from the 1st Senatorial District. And I'm the chairman of this committee, Senator Francisco Cruz from the 2nd Senatorial District. I would also like to announce a couple of things, informative in the interest of informational purposes regarding House rules during this public hearing. And today, the members of the Standing Committee of the EAGI is conducting a public hearing on the appointment of Mr. Tipos to serve as a member of the Professional Licensing Board to represent the island of Saipan. The public will be invited to make comments as to whether you support the appointee before ours this morning. We value your input. However, any comments beyond the facts of the appointee or comments that is not directly related with this public hearing will not be entertained, and such comment will be removed from the record. At the same time, please observe minimal noises in disrupting this hearing process. Please turn your electronic to a silent mode. Thank you. Let's now begin. This public hearing is now in session. Today is Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025, at approximately 9:42 in the morning at the Honorable Sus P. Mafnas Memorial Building, here in the Senate Chamber, Capitol Saipan. This is a public hearing regarding the appointment of Mr. Lilio B. Tipos by Governor Palacios and Lieutenant Governor Apatang to serve as a member of the Professional Licensing Board of Director to represent the island of Saipan. Devin will be assisting this public hearing. Ben Terlai will be our Senate Sergeant at Arms, and Mr. Joe Bermudez will be our legal counsel, and will all serve accordingly for this hearing. At this time, please, Mr. Macras, call the roll.
Senator Ronnie M. Calvo.
Present.
Senator Manny T. Castro.
Still.
Senator Francisco Q. Cruz.
Here.
Senator Carl R. King Neighbors.
Here.
Senator Karina L. Magofnia.
Present.
Senator Donald M. Manglona.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, all members of the Senate EAGI committee are present.
Thank you. With all 6 members present, we have the necessary number to proceed this public hearing. At this time, do I have a motion to adopt our agenda? There's a motion or seconded. All in favor of that motion, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. At this time, we'd like to invite the governor's rep and the appointee into the chamber, please. And sir, before you introduce the committee on the governor's appointee, please state your name for the record. Thank you. Oh, okay. I'm sorry the way I pronounce your name, Tiples. I thought it's Tipos. My apology. Sir, can you just make correction on that, Mr. Macronas? Go ahead, sir.
Good morning, Hafide Zantiro, Chairman Francisco Q. Cruz, and honorable members of the 24th Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands Senate Legislature on Executive Appointments and Government Investigations Committee. For record purposes, my name is Jean Paul B. Regis, Acting Special Assistant under the Office of the Governor. On behalf of Honorable Governor Arno I. Palacios and Lieutenant Governor David M. Appointee, I thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. I am here to introduce the renomination of Mr. Lilio B. Tiples to be a member of the Board of Professional Licensing. Mr. Tiples' remarkable professional history illustrates his extensive experience and steadfast dedication to public service. With a career of over 43 years, he has played a pivotal role in advancing progress within the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. Mr. Tiples earned his Bachelor's of Science in Civil Engineering from the Western Institute of Technology in the Philippines. He is a CNMI-certified general appraiser and a registered civil engineer, offering a significant extent of knowledge and expertise. Governor R. Palacios and Lieutenant Governor Appointee expresses their complete confidence in Mr. Tiples' capability to serve as a member of the Board of Professional Licensing. Given his vast professional experience, recognized credentials, and committed to serving the Commonwealth in this role, Mr. Tiples is an exemplary candidate. I am assured that he is well prepared to respond to any inquiries you may have and to articulate his vision for the future. We respectfully request for your favorable consideration and approval on his renomination. Thank you, Jesus Mosi Zangiliso, for the opportunity to introduce him to this august body, Mr. Chairman. Jesus Mosi.
Thank you, Mr. Regis. And before I recognize the appointee, Mr. Tiples, can you please stand and raise your right hand so that Mr. Marcanes can administer the oath? Yes.
Mr. Lilio B. Tiples, you do solemnly swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you shall give in the matter at hand shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I know that you have submitted all required documents by this body, but if you have anything else that you wish to share this morning, you have the floor, but please state your name for the record.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning, Honorable Senator Frank Cruz, Chairman of the Executive Appointments and Government Investigations Committee, and likewise to all the honorable members of the committee. My name is Lilio B. Tiples, as you heard earlier. I am a practicing certified general appraiser in the CNMI, and having been here since 1991, I am well abreast of the local real estate market condition. And I started our own company, LBT Appraisal, in 2005. So this coming November will be our 20th anniversary. I would like also to express my deep gratitude to our Governor Arnold Palacios and Lieutenant Governor David Appointee for their nomination of me. I thank them for their confidence in me. And lastly, I wish to thank my colleagues at the BPL for their kind support and encouragement of my re-nomination. Thank you so much, and say Diyos maasi.
Thank you, sir. At this time, before I recognize the members of the general public to give comments, I would like to acknowledge those agencies that are invited to participate. From the Professional Licensing Office, Miss Esther S. Fleming, is she here? I know that she submitted written letter of support? Anyone from that office? No one? Let the record reflect that Ms. Esther's not here at the moment to give testimony. Members of the Board of Professional Licensing, you can come forward, and before you proceed, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Buenas, good morning, Mr. Chair and members of this committee. My name is Elizabeth Salas Balahoja, and I'm the Vice Chair for the Board of Professional Licensing. I'm here to support the renomination of Mr. Lilio Tiplis to serve on the Board of Professional Licensing Board to represent the general appraisers for the island of Saipan. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Balaja. Anyone else?
Hi, good morning, Chairman, Senator Cruz, and the August members of this committee. My name is Dan Manibusan Magnolia. I am currently the Vice Chair of the Board of Professional Licensing, and I'm here today to extend my support to the Governor and the Lieutenant Governor's reappointment of Mr. Tiplis to the Board of Professional Licensing. Right now, Mr. Tiplis is representing the island of Saipan and also a professional and certified general appraiser. And really that's one of the professions that's regulated by our board, which include the architects, engineers, land surveyors, landscape architects, and real property appraisers. So he serves a crucial role as being one of 5 currently registered real estate appraisers in the CNMI. So I've known him for a few years now with my time on the board. And I understand that he has over 30 years of experience here in the CNMI as a real estate appraiser. And in fact, I also used him for some of my real estate needs recently and in the past. So I understand that he has the demonstrated expertise, fair judgment, and excellent character to continue serving on the board. So I highly recommend the approval or confirmation of his nomination. And again, thank you for this opportunity to speak and offer my support to Mr. Tiplis. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Maglonia. Anyone else from the Board of Professional Licensing Office? No one else? At this time, I'd like to open the floor for public comment. If anyone wishes to deliver testimony, whether you're in support or not, you're welcome to come forward. However, I want to remind everyone again that any comments that is raised that is not directly related with this public hearing will not be entertained, and such comment will be removed from the record. At this time, the floor is open for public comment. Anyone in the gallery wishes to come forward and deliver testimony? No one? At this time, I close the floor for public comment. And now I would like to recognize the member of this standing committee to either raise questions or concern in regards of this public hearing. That at this time, I would like to recognize from the 3rd Senatorial District, Senator Corina Magovnia.
Mr. Chairman, good morning, Mr. Tiplis, and to members of the BPL board. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you on your renomination. And second, I would like to thank you for accepting the renomination. I did take some time to review your resume, and I'd have to say it's quite extensive. It's 4 pages, actually 2 pages, but back to back, so a total of 4 pages. Obviously, you have some extensive experience in your background, so no questions there. But I'd like to move on to my line of questions, and we'll start with something general. So, for our viewing public online who may not be as familiar with what a licensed certified general appraiser is, could you explain to this body that what is that? What does it mean? So, what is a certified general appraiser? How is it different from a regular appraiser?
Would you repeat your question, ma'am?
Oh, sure.
Sorry.
Okay, so for our viewing public online, could you please explain to us what a general appraiser does in comparison to a regular appraiser?
Brokers,
Yeah,
like
I'm not
brokers.
familiar with what, the different types of appraisers or what they do.
Yeah.
So could you please educate me and the rest of the viewing public who are watching online?
Yeah, I think I need to define first what is appraiser.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an individual that is that will provide market value opinion competently in a manner that is not, or I mean, in a manner that is objective, fair, impartial. That's it. And now, the difference between appraisers from other real estate discipline like brokers, for us, we do appraisal in an unbiased manner. Yeah, we value or provide an opinion of certain property, the value of it, based on many factors. And the primary was this basis for our evaluation is the market data. For example, vacant land, let's say in a certain location like Capitol Hill, for example, we try to collect market data within that neighborhood as much as possible. There are available recent market data in that area close to the subject property. But in the case of in the CNMI, we have with scarcity. We have scarcity of data. So what we did is to to extend our research from other competitive neighborhood. Yeah, like for example, maybe here in Capitol Hill, we can use Edini, Papago, something like that. And then in our adjustment grid, we have this chart that was this the elements of comparison, like for example, the location, the size, the utilities available, and then and other factors. So we compare it whether the subject is superior or inferior. Yeah. So and then we came up with the final adjusted value, and then make a weighting analysis. Let's say if we use three comparable properties, so we give more weight on those on a comparable that has the less adjustment. So until we come up with the final value of the property. Now the brokers is a different thing. Although we also ask the help of brokers, like if they have available data, we approach them and ask for additional data to support our was this valuation, and vice versa.
Thank you for that explanation, Mr. Tiplis. So I do have a follow-up to your explanation, and as you stated earlier, that there is a lack of database here in the CNMI to be able to do, a reasonable comp, right, with properties. And, well, I don't know if you mentioned it earlier, but so where do you get your data? Where do you get your data to come up with an assessment, a fair assessment of what the fair market value is for the property?
We primarily obtain our data from the recorder's office.
The recorder's office.
Once we collect all those data, raw data, we verify all those data.
Mm-hmm.
We try to find where is the location of that and transaction, and collect all the physical characteristics of that property, and to confirm whether the property is vacant or it is improved like that. And if to the extent we try to contact the participants, the market participants, the buyer or the seller,
Mm-hmm.
to get more, information from them,
Sure.
because they are the one who really knows the property. So from their was this information, then we,
So, but how is the
Go-
value determined if there's a lack of database to do the comps, right, of what the surrounding properties are valued at? Like, what guidelines or metrics do you use to assess the property or what the market value is for that property?
for example, if the subject property is a commercial, the highest and business is commercial use, then we try to collect or to use comps which have the same highs and vicious, and then and as much as possible the location. Let's say if it is in Garapan area, we use comps within Garapan also, and has the same highs and vicious.
So who keeps those comps? Like, where is this data, right? Like, so you're trying to do a comparison between the properties nearby, and you're looking at, I guess I'm trying to understand where somebody has to have these data, right, in order for you to get an understanding of what the market value is of the subject property that you are looking at. So since we are lacking data, and I don't know if there's one entity or multiple entities that have data sets from different, projects, like, I'm just trying to understand, when you look at a property, where is your source of information coming from to determine, right, what the value is of that property?
Okay, in the deed or lease agreement, yeah, it's all was this stated there.
Yes, so it gives you the
Yeah,
details of the
Latin-
property.
the legal description
Yes.
of the property,
Yes.
the owners or the lessee or lessor, the date, it's all there. The size of the property, even the reference map, and then the what's this? The purchase price. The purchase price, whether it's one-time payment or it's a installment basis on
So
a
you-
monthly
so-
or yearly basis. So yeah, if it is what's this prepaid, then it's easy for us to calculate the unit value of the
Sure.
property. But if it is installment basis, we have to use the discounting process.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that might work fine, right, for like commercial properties, but what about for like personal real estate where a family member is transferring want a deed to another family or purchase it at a family discount price, to you, since you're saying that you're using the purchase price that's stated on the deed, that it could be skewed, in my opinion, right? Because the property value is not really that, but because we're family, I'll give it to you for like, some of them even transfer the deeds for like $1, you know, just so that they could transfer the deed over to another family member. But anyway, that's besides the point. I guess where I'm just trying to understand where the source is coming from to be able to determine what that market value is for the property. And since we are lacking that, is there any plan or discussion of perhaps maybe having, I don't know if it's a government entity or some type of organization that really does the collection of all this data, right? And so that at any given time, all the different appraisers can just go to one place and it's standardized, right? The market prices are standardized. It's not based on someone's opinion. It's actual data being collected by an entity from real estate businesses and people such as yourself, so that they can have a better idea of what the realistic price is for the market. I mean, has there been any talks or plans about having, you know, an agency or an entity to be the responsible party to collect all that data, so that you guys have access? You're not going all over the place. You have this one place to source the information from, and it's standard across the board. Everyone's getting the same information.
Yeah. What was this? To provide value is only an opinion. It's an opinion of this. I might have. Was this came up with the value of certain property. Now, if you ask for a second opinion, maybe.
But there has to be a reasonable opinion, right? Like at least within the ballpark figure. Like if the value is so the value is so far apart, right? The discrepancy is so far apart. There's obviously an issue there. So what I'm trying to understand is whether or not we can minimize that and see if we could have some sort of standard, right, where people such as yourself or other businesses who are looking into, you know, probably obtaining a property, to know what the market value is of surrounding properties near in that neighborhood. So I'm just asking if has there ever been any discussion to try and create, you know, an entity that just that's all they do is just collect data, you know, on what the market prices are in different sections of the island. So.
Can you make it low?
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah,
We
that's
can
my
move on.
problem. Yeah,
We can move on
in
to the
this
next
area.
question. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. And so I know that in your resume you are licensed here in the CNMI, but I was wondering if you are licensed in other jurisdictions or just the CNMI?
This in my own.
Just okay. And then I see that continuing education, I assume, is part of the requirement to maintain status.
That's right.
Correct?
That's right.
And I see that your what are the requirements? Is it annual? Is it every year that you have to complete these continuing education credits, or is it just depending on what courses you're taking?
Was this every 2 years we renew our license, and the BPL requires 28 credit hours. Was this courses that are related to appraisal.
Okay.
So there are distance education providers, and myself, I took all my courses through online, and they have this. There are some courses that are not that are not counted as credit education. So what we take are those courses that are what's this credit what do you call this counted as a credit what's this education. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. So so I guess you're here as a renomination. I'd like to hear from you what could you please share with this body some of your contributions and accomplishment as a current board member?
Well, I have in January or July 2023, were able to assist. I was able to contribute amendments to the existing appraisal regulations. It was adopted on July 28, 2023.
Okay, thank you. And I believe that was also mentioned in the citizen-centric report for FY23. So I'll get to that in a little bit, but I'll continue on with my line of questioning. So what are some of the challenges, if any, that you experienced as a current board member, if any?
Yeah, that's my. Can you repeat again?
sure.
Can you repeat my question?
What are some of the challenges, if any, that you've experienced as a current board member?
Well, I don't really. There's not too much challenges because here in the Sinamay, there are only 3 appraisers and 2 from Off Island, and we haven't received any complaints from from any from the public regarding other appraisers. So I think not really, not too much
Okay.
challenges.
I mean, I did look at the citizen-centric report on OPS website, and it is for FY23. So I don't know if the information on there is now obsolete, right? Since we don't have access to the FY24 report, but in that report it did talked about the complaints that are currently being given to the AG's office because there's still a vacant position for an investigator or I think it's an investigator. And so since we're discussing that, can we just move into that? Do you know if that position has been filled? Oh, my apologies. Okay, so in the citizen-centric report for FY23, it was stated that there's an investigator position that's still vacant, and I wanted to know if that's still the case today.
I don't investigators regarding the
There's a
appraisal.
position that's vacant in at BPL, right? To be able to go and investigate the complaints that are being submitted to the board. But because that position is currently vacant, according to FY23's report, it's still vacant. And so I wanted to know if that position is still vacant, and if it is, why?
I think I need the help of.
It's,
I need the help of,
If no objection, you want
I have
the-
no objection. I just want to,
member of the
Yeah.
office to come forward and
yes.
maybe clarify that?
Yeah.
Hi, good morning again, and my name is Elizabeth Balahoja. Mr. Chair and members of the board and Senator Karina, I think the investigator that you're talking about is a full-time employee for the Board of Professional Licensing. And we've always had one until he passed away. And because of the budget, we're not able to fill that position, but we'd like to keep it open because in our Board of Professional Licensings, we are also obliged to go out and check out projects that are being built or that are being designed, and our investigator used to do that.
Okay.
So, yeah, we do have that vacant, and so it takes care of appraisers and also the engineers and architects and surveyors. Thank
Okay,
you.
So would you know how many complaints are still pending since how long ago did this person pass?
Boy, it's probably like 4 years ago.
4 years, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So would you know how many cases are pending?
We don't have any, as far as I know, there is no case that is pending that is, because we usually bring it up to the AG's office.
Right.
Yeah, and then if there are pending complaints, they're probably verbal, and we encouraged the public to always put it in writing, and I've been on the board and I have not really seen one, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I can move on to my next question. So again, in FY23's report, it was stated that the licensure process online and tracking system continues to be a challenge. Is that still the case?
I believe so. And I know that our administrator and Mr. Chair, we apologize for our administrator. I know that she's traveling to go on her medical leave, but she's working on some online. But
Okay.
yeah, we're trying to cater with other board jurisdictions, such as even Guam and the national. But it's also working with the Department of Finance because of payments.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Balahoja. That's all I have, Chair. I yield.
Thank you, Ms. Balaja. And now I would like to recognize Senator Castro from the 3rd Senatorial District.
Thank you, Mr. Tiples, for your time. And also, although it's probably required, I just wanted to commend you on your continuing education units. Your additional staying abreast of what's the profession, always getting the training. I see your last course was in September. Oh, actually, just recently in this past year, you had several continuing education units completed. But yes, I understand Senator Karina's sentiment. A lot of the data that, even before you answered it, I already figured it's probably coming from the recorder's office, because that's something that our government needs to work on, is data and making it more accessible. So not just a challenge for your department or the board, but we need to start investing in that type of infrastructure as well. But I do share Senator Karina's sentiment for the board members. If we can also push to move in that direction. Online processing, you're not the only agency. There's other government agencies that need to do the same thing. But again, I having been in charge of mostly higher ed data, even just getting that information from other agencies is very difficult. It's really raw. We have to filter it. We have to, so just the fact that you mentioned the recorder's office, it's a very manual process. So thank you for your service, and I just wanted to highly encourage the board to look into automating some of that for the benefit of the entire CNMI and external community. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Castro. Now I would like to recognize the floor leader of the Senate, Senator Magnolia from the 1st Senatorial District.
Thank you, Chairman Cruz. Good morning, Mr. Tiples. Thank you for your years of service to BPL and for wanting to continue to serve. Just going back to the question from Senator McLaughlin regarding continuing education. So, are all licensee required to continue their education through taking courses in order for them to get a renewal? Is that the case for every licensee?
Yes, Your Honor. Every 2 years, when that's one of the requirements in order for your license to be renewed. Yeah, that's 28 credit hours
Every
every 2
2
years.
years for every profession
Only for the
appraisers?
real estate appraisers. I don't know the other professions, but for the real estate appraisers, every 2 years. Yeah, that's the renewal period, and yeah, like I said, it's the number of credit hours is 28, so that's equivalent to 4 courses.
So can I ask help me understand what is your role in BPL? Do you oversee all professions or mainly appraisers and
Just
those that are related to?
Yeah, it's only on the appraisers.
Okay. So, but you have input in terms of making decisions for the other professions, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
And so, do you know if BPL has made that a requirement for all other professions to continue their education?
Usually, what's this? Our chairman or other board members who are engineers were always the one that responds to regarding matters of other professions.
Okay. You as an appraiser, are you required to, or are you a member of an association? I don't know if there's an appraisers association out there, but is that
No.
something that
We're
you're a
not-
member of?
We're not really required to join any association like in our profession. We don't have this. There's no requirement for that.
Do you know if there's requirements for other professions within BPO that are required to be members of associations?
Dan Magnolia. Can you repeat that question? Sorry.
Are other professions aside from appraisers required to be members of an association pertaining to their field?
Membership in association is not necessarily required, but it is encouraged, and we do have a section in our application for licensure in which they can state their different associations that they're involved in.
Thank you. And I wanted to bring that up because I wanted to maybe pose this as a recommendation to, if that's something that could be considered, that these professionals could or should be a member of associations, so that maybe we can see some development in terms of the possibility of maybe establishing a contractors association, which I think we lack here in the CNMI, and something of that sort. So that's something I was hoping to hear. If it's not a requirement now, do you think it's something that would be considered in terms of counting towards maybe their continuing education requirement, or just as an extra requirement added onto the renewal? Is that something that
Yeah, to answer that question, at least in the engineering and architecture side, there's been a lot of push recently to remove barriers to licensure. And a lot of these associations, they have these subscription fees or annual fees. So as much as possible, we're trying to prevent these barriers. But yeah, it is encouraged, and a lot of these subscriptions, they do include continuing education units as part of that subscription. So they'll have these webinars or access to certain materials, which is always a good thing, right? But that added fee, tends to be an added cost in terms of renewing their licensure. So we don't require it right now, but we do have an ongoing amendment to our regulations, at least for the engineers and architects, that within the board we do have a ad hoc committee that's reviewing that. And as far as the continuing education units, which is not required right now, that's something that we're exploring to start implementing. But like I mentioned earlier, we just want to prevent any terms of barriers to licensure, but also we want to make sure that we protect the safety, health, and welfare of the public. So that continuing education unit, yes, should be a requirement, and we're looking into that to start implementing.
Thank you. And I bring that up because just looking at, and I don't know if this is comparing apples to oranges, but looking at PSS's certification requirements, there's all these requirements just in order to move up to a next level, and one of the requirement is being a member of an association or taking so many credit hours. And while I understand that you want to make it easier for individuals to attain their license, I think it's also important that we, like you mentioned, you want to ensure the safety of our population, and by doing that, we want to ensure that individuals are meeting certain standards. And so, and also in understanding that we lack the unified goals of professions that are typically shared and that are typically shared within associations. That's something that maybe as a requirement could encourage professions to band together and bring up concerns and address them collectively and as a group of professionals. And so I was just trying to see if that's something that maybe is happening somewhere in other licensing boards throughout the nation. Or
Yes, so we do attend these national conference meetings, and yeah, that has been sort of discussed. But then again, when we are talking about, I guess, mobility of engineers, having semi-licensed engineers move to the States and vice versa, I think none of the boards right now have a requirement for associate or association memberships to be licensed. So if we were to require that here, that might be raise some concerns in the state side, in which if we're trying to get some engineers from even Guam to move here, right? If they had to become a member of a certain association just to get their reciprocity in terms of licensure, that might prevent the mobility of engineers. So if we start requiring extra requirements that are not, I guess, standard in the nation, we might make it difficult for engineers to help us in our projects here and elsewhere.
all right, thank you for sharing. Back to Mr. Tiplis. As an appraiser, have you come across concerns as you walk around and do your appraisal? Have you come across concerns regarding a building's structure or something that you maybe are concerned about that you would have to report or have reported? Have you come across any situations where you had to do that?
So far, I haven't encountered any buildings that need to be reported. Is that
So like
yeah?
you listed under
I don't remember.
you listed under your clients list Imperial Pacific. did you do an appraisal on IPI building? So like, and if you did, or if you were to do one, and you walked around the building, whatever process you do to appraise, and you come across structural deficiencies, well, first off, have you come across structural deficiencies during your time while you performed work for IPI?
Would you repeat the question? I am sorry.
You mentioned that IPI was one of your clients. Is that correct?
IPI?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Did you do appraisal for IPI?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you do an appraisal when the building was constructed, or was that prior?
It's a private, yeah. What's this? Was this the condition of the building is considered in deriving the what's this the market value of the property.
Right.
So I even asked the assistance of engineer or estimators to provide me the cost estimate of the building of the hotel, and we went around, and even was this the guard, the security guard, even informed me, the deficiencies on the building, and there are some was this sections of the building, especially on the upper floor that is not complete yet. So those was this the estimate is also consider that. Like according to my was this to the engineer that assisted me, the percentage of completion is like if I'm not mistaken, it's like only at 80%. So I considered that, and what's this the condition of the building, the age, and the depreciation, the accrued depreciation of the building is primarily considered in obtaining the depreciated value of the building.
Right. So while you're doing that process of evaluating and appraising the building, and you come across reports of, irregularities or deficiencies, as a board member of BPO, do you, aside from your duty as the contractor to do the appraisal, would you report would you identify who the engineering was or who the contractor was, and would that be a concern for BPL to investigate or report
think,
to
yeah.
BPL to investigate?
I think it is beyond my beyond my assignment with regards to that.
But you, as a board member, you should be concerned because these processes aren't being followed, or you have to hold accountable these contractors, whoever they are, or these engineers, or these architects. Even as a private citizen, right? If I see something that may be a concern, then I should, or I we encourage people to report that to the proper authorities. So would you, as an appraiser, report? And it doesn't have to be IPI, it has to be any entity you're appraising. Would you report these irregularities to BPL, or have you reported any of these irregularities to BPL?
I'm not really sure whether because when we submit our proposal, we state all our the scope of work, and we can in our report we can only state what are the functional deficiencies of the property, and then we estimate what would be the cost to correct that, and that's a negative to the subject property, to the building. But to report being a member of the board regarding, you know, any flaws on the building construction, in my opinion, I think it's beyond my duty to report that to BPL. I'm not really sure whether it's. I think the proper agency would be the building code of DPW.
Right.
I'm not really sure with that. I think maybe we can.
But and the point I'm getting to is, as a board member, you want to ensure the protection and safety of our people. So you want to ensure that, you know, because you already have access to some of these informations on your personal capacity or professional capacity as a contractor or as an appraiser, and you see what's going on within these properties, and whether something has been done to correct it or not, you also have that responsibility and to the people as a board member to ensure that these discrepancies are corrected, or these concerns are addressed, and who do we hold accountable to that, right? So as a board member, you know, you kind of you kind of already have inside information as to what concerns are there in the community or are within these organizations that you know, should put into question the engineer or the architect that was involved in the design of these structures that aren't safe and sound. And so
As far as I know, if there's a complaint received by BPL, we have this investigator to conduct an investigation regarding that.
right, but if the investigator is not aware, but you were aware because of your role as an appraiser, would you send the investigator to go and see if that issue has been resolved? Or
With regard to that, maybe I have to. That's new to me. So maybe I can with this I can relay that to my co-members in the BPL.
thank you.
That's a new thing to me.
Yeah. So other than earlier, you mentioned you were instrumental in making amendments to the appraisal evaluation. Have you been involved in any other amendments outside of the appraisal field, towards any other profession?
No, thank you. No, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Diplis. That's all I have for now, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Okay, Floor Leader. Now I would like to recognize Senator Calvo from the 1st Senatorial District.
Good afternoon or good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Can you pronounce your name? Tiplis. Yeah,
Tiplis,
Lilio
yeah.
Tiplis.
Lilio
Thank you.
Tiplis.
This is very educational in regards to the appraisal. We thank you for your time coming in and the what do you call it? Instatement. You know, we're learning a lot, especially when it comes to I'm like the type that would be more of the real estate version of it, you know, the appraisers, the real estate and all this. But you do have an exemplary resume here. Just going over it, it brings to mind when the senators were sharing, like Senator Manny was sharing regarding record keeping, as well as Senator Magofnia. you know, the recommendation where the board will really look into that manual version versus, you know, a system in place when accessibility is like technology, and accessibility is very vital and important. I know you have a resume of a lot of government contracts, private contracts. You're dealing with, you know, commercial, industrial, residential, agricultural. I'm impressed, you know, agricultural sector and working with DLNR. The other thing that mentioned, I think with one of the public comments here written, that, and it deals with Senator Manglonia, saying when you do the go around and take a look at the infrastructure, and you mentioned earlier, you're also the material makeup of the structure also applies, correct, in regards to the value of that property, or the, you know, how you market that. One of them, I think, Jonathan Taitano, former public member of BPL, he says you're very meticulous to attention. I mean, you demonstrate meticulous attention to detail, and you set unethical standards. So just looking at your professional licensing, it does mention, you know, and you have to recertify, I'm pretty sure, this 28 credit hour requirement recertification, because it's forever upgrading things that you need to refresh yourself. The Unified Standard of Professional Appraisal Practices, you know, and when I just researched that, you know, you are dealing with federal, also government and federal projects. So that sets a high bar, a high standard in place. The other great important information that Senator Dalton would mention is that when you did state you do report things on the appraisal if there is a certain deficiency, but it's probably more to say, okay, once that's stated, the referral to DPW and the other parties and stakeholders are involved, because it deals with also the security, you know, the entire, not only the value of the property, but, you know, the safety of the purchasers, and meeting the standards and requirement needed to give it, if not homeowner or commercial personnel. I do recommend, because even in the field of education, in the field of, you know, even at the senatorial, we have the National Council for, I mean, committees for, you know, like associations. So not only do you have the certification needed, it would be great, because wherever you go in the world, you'll have that national membership in hand. And currently, with all the different memberships, you do have the current updates of events, you know, even appraisal, you know, just different things that are necessary for you to be aware of, you know, the national, regional, and so forth, the local level. So being a certified appraiser, becoming a membership, I think that would be a plus to the organization and you as a private practice, and also for the government. You know, great to see that you, just looking at your throwback 40-some years in the CNMI, very commendable. You know, you're here for the long term. Another thing is, you know, we look forward to, my train of thought just left me right there. But it's very interesting too, in regards to, you've been to FSM, Ponape, you know, you've also dealt with our island of Rota, our island of Tinian. So we are well versed with the different properties and stuff. The one thing that was mentioned is, you know, when you do probably the calculations and formula and the standards that you have in place, and, you know, the framework is, do you have like a standard formula or calculation, or per square feet baseline? Is that your local opinion, or do you, you know, knowing you're certified, you go on a matrix and this is based on, you know, our regional appraisal value, you know, as far as how we're saying fair market value, meaning locally. I know in real estate, you also take a look at the geographic and the demographics or where the property is placed. So we're looking at, okay, also the other appraisers, maybe your competitors, what did they appraise this at? You know, so those are the elements that you do. So, you know, we're hoping that, you know, this goes deeper into your profession. But I want to thank you, and we do look forward to, you know, making the appropriate decision, and keep in mind the pinpoints that we did share to help you in serving the Commonwealth and the community. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Cobo. Now I would like to recognize the Vice President of the Senate, Senator Neighbors.
Thank you, Chairman Cruz, and thank you, Mr. Tiblis, for being here today, also for accepting the nomination. I want to express the same sentiments my colleagues have mentioned and expressed this morning. Appreciative of the time and the fact that you spent so much of your life here, giving back to the CNMI in the capacity that you do. Is very much appreciated, knowing especially how unique the field is and how little resources we have in the way of your specific profession is. I did want to ask, you said that you had started a company recently. You had recently started a company,
Yes.
and that you were going on 30 years with that company, about to have its anniversary, correct?
Yeah.
20 years? 20 years, okay. And can we ask, what does that company entail? What does that company do?
Yeah. The name of our company is LBT Appraisal.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Provide appraisals to,
we provide,
okay.
valuation services.
Okay. Can I ask, what are the trends, if you notice any, over the past 20 years in regards to appraisals for properties? What are the trends over the last 20 years that you could identify?
Come again, no, sir. I'm sorry.
What are the trends in the evaluations of properties over the
here,
past
yeah.
20 years?
Here in the cinema is it's fluctuating. The trend is especially now. It started in 1991. The market is really good up to 92, 93, but in the late years, because at the time, the most of the buyers or leases are Japanese, and now then the Koreans, now the Chinese, and the market condition of it happens everywhere, but specifically here in the Sinumay, we are affected by many factors, external factors, economic, and since the Sinumay is the backbone of our economy is tourism. So during pandemic time, when no more there's a less tourist arrivals. So not only the hotel industry is affected, but many businesses, and there's a ripple effect on the property values, and even today, and the only real properties that are steady are the residential. There are a lot of this acquisition of vacant lands for residential purposes, and because of available financing from CDBG and even the housing, and others are they other owners or homeowners or home buyers, they also obtain a loan from local banks to acquire the prospective residents uh, or proposed house lot. So right now is like I said, only residential properties is
Stable.
good, but commercial it's a little shaking.
Okay.
So,
Now, obviously on the island of Tinian, there 2/3 of the land are leased to the military, leaving 1/3 of the land to homestead, private use, commercial use, etc. Is there a different formula that you apply to the senatorial districts as it pertains to providing a like an assessment, a value assessment on the property, as it pertains to the senatorials, or is it a blanket formula that you use for
We
the
have-
entire district?
yes, sorry, Your Honor. We have this universal formula. I mean, three conventional approaches to value. Sales comparison approach, the income approach, and cost approach. We try to apply all those three, but it depends if it is applicable on a certain project or property. For example, for commercial properties, usually we use the income approach, especially if that property is income producing.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
could
the
you
cost
speak-
approach.
could
The
you
sales
speak to the-
comparison,
My apologies. I didn't mean to interrupt. But since you brought it up, could you speak to the income approach? Could you explain to us what that is?
come again, sir.
Could you explain to the committee what the income approach is?
Yeah, the income approach, the process is that like, for example, it's a commercial building, and it's for rental purposes. Let's say one story commercial building. Let's say the property is located in San Jose, for example. We try to find comparable rental buildings as much as possible within that area. And we adjust based on the size, the location, whether it is accessible. So usually it's like for square footage, the rental per month per square foot is like $1, like that, $1.75 or $1.25, $1.50. It depends. And if we calculate the potential gross income, the number of the square footage times multiplied by the rate per square foot, to get the the annual rental, and then less we deduct the allowance for vacancy, and then deduct the operating expenses. Net income will be capitalized at an appropriate rate to get the market value of that property. And we also use the cost approach, in which the process is to estimate the cost of the building less depreciation, and then you add the land value, and then try to reconcile that to two values based on their reliability. For income producing property, we usually give more weight on the income.
Versus the cost.
Yeah. So once we apply the weighting analysis, then we came up with let's say income we give weight 60% and then 40% for cost approach. So the sum of that is the indicated value of
The property.
certain property. Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that. And again, I don't have any further questions. Thank you again for accepting this appointment and given the blessing of this committee and also the Senate. I look forward to you continuing on. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Vice. And thank you, sir. I know this is a lengthy hearing. There's a lot of concern and question raised. I know that I've always mentioned that I appreciate volunteers. It's not a paying job, but this is very critical when it comes to this kind of board licensing. This is your second term, right? Third?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I'm very surprised how often you guys, the board, call or the executive call for a meeting.
I think every quarter we.
Because I'm very concerned about some of the, I appreciate the two members of the board that is out in the gallery, but to be honest, this is your public hearing, and I expect that you familiarize yourself with what's happening in that office, and because this body is relying on individual that can carry out that responsibility, and I appreciate your this is only a volunteer, but it is important that either the secretary should be calling meeting and informing you of what's happening, like what was mentioned, investigator earlier, and that's very important because I don't have any facts, but I've received information about appraising a property, and it's very important that the general public, especially the landowners, has to, the appraisal should be fair in appraising property. I know you mentioned that when appraiser appraise, it's based on the value, based on your opinion, and it's up to both sides, right? The owner and the seller, whether or not they agree with the price, right? You base yourself on the fair market value when you appraise property based on, you mentioned earlier about the value. It also based on the major or the main industry that we're lacking in the tourism.
Yeah, based on the market data.
Yeah. So my question here is, have you ever come across either buyer that requested from you to either decrease the value to buy a private property?
If that's the case, I advise the client to find another appraiser.
But it comes to it. You have an incident of that sort of the one I will leave, that question that I asked.
I don't entertain that, Your Honor.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm not trying to, to accuse anything, but I just want to make sure that because I'm not an appraiser, but I know that it has to be be fair, and I know that some buyer wishes to purchase the property at a very low price, and it's not within the fair market value, but it even lower than that. I've heard things about that. I don't have any facts as to who was that person, but I just want to raise that so that the general public can be well aware of appraisals that are fair in the value of the property.
Yeah, I always tell my client that we will do our best to provide you our opinion value, the fair market value, whatever the value of your property based on our gathered data. So that's it.
Okay, so when you appraise private property and government property?
Yes,
do?
Your Honor.
Okay. I want to ask, the value of private property versus the value of government, is it the same?
It is the same.
The same value?
Yeah, it is the same.
Okay. So pretty
Yeah,
much,
let's say it's public land here, private land here, the same size. Everything are.
no, when you appraise the value of a government property versus a private, is it the same fair market value, or there's different prices on?
Yeah, it's
Because
fair
you
market.
mentioned earlier about opinion. It's just an
It's-
opinion.
It's fair market value, but then
Yes, sir.
it depends on where it's the private or public land is located. So the value would be different. The unit value would be
Yeah,
different.
I
Let's say,
understand. I
yeah.
understand. If it's a different, if it's not a prime location, it'll be different price rate. But if it's in the same, for example, the same prime location, it's the same value.
The same value. of
Okay,
course.
I appreciate that.
Walls are equal. Huh?
So, like I mentioned earlier, I appreciate being a volunteer, and we appreciate all the volunteers to assist the our government, especially public services. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm not saying the pressure are not fair, but I just want to make it known that when the pressure appraised, it has to be fair to everyone. I won't mention this if I don't receive any information about some. I don't know who's that, but it was mentioned by Senator Corina about there's a report, and I don't know, you, based on the question, you're not aware. That's why I hope that the office will furnish every member of the board of any information that is coming in, so that when it comes to this, actually, when new appointee, we don't usually ask questions because you're just coming in, but you're there, and I'm just surprised that you're not aware of what's happening at the office. And again, I appreciate. I have no further question. Just if this body give you the blessing, I ask that you work with the other board members and whatever that needs to be improved. If it requires legislation, this is the office that you need to come, and whatever that needs to be improved through legislation, our doors are always open for any suggestion. If there's anyone else, recognize Senator Magofia.
Thank you, Chair. So I just want to clarify that when I shared the information about the complaints, that like I said, this is the report that's coming from FY23, so the information could be obsolete, right? We don't know what the information entails in FY24. I'm just simply relaying information that's available to us through the OPA's website. But it just talks about the investigator position being currently vacant and unfunded, and in the absence of an investigator on board, complaints are temporarily referred to and investigated by the Office of the Attorney General until such time that the position is funded and filled. So I'm just interpreting that to be that, there are complaints, but because there's no investigator in place, that they're currently being referred to the Aegis office. So that's just my interpretation, and based on information that is showing from FY23. I don't know if that's still the case today, but I just wanted to follow up with that and see if, where we are with that. I'd like to go back to the topic of safety that Senator Donald had asked earlier. And I wanted to ask you, Mr. Tiples, if you are aware of what the board's mission is according to the citizen-centric report that's posted online.
Come again, ma'am.
So I want to go back to the topic of safety.
Safety.
Yes, that Senator Donald had asked of you earlier. And I wanted to ask if you are aware of what the board's mission is according to the citizen-centric report that is published online. If not, it's okay. I can read it
yeah,
to you.
not-
Okay. So according to the citizen-centric report that's published online, the board's mission is to protect the public's health, safety, and welfare through its regulations on the practice of engineering, architecture, land surveying, landscape architecture, and real property appraisal within the Commonwealth. And I read that out loud, right? Because I feel that when Senator Donald asked you a question regarding safety and whether or not you have seen or, seen one, or would you have reported it, I don't feel that you answered that question. So I wanted to kind of bring that question back. But it ties back to the investigator position, right? Because according to, BPL's citizen-centric report, I'll just read it out to you so that we're on the same page. It says, of the greatest challenges to BPL and HCPLB are the need to provide more on-site inspection for compliance and to investigate complaints as they come in. Obviously, you don't have an investigator for the last 4 years. The position of the investigator is currently vacant and very critical in ensuring the protection of the community. It must be budgeted and filled immediately to enforce the regulations that restrict professional practice only to individuals who are licensed in the CNMI. And so, with that said, my concern is if there is no investigator currently on board, who is enforcing the regulations that the board has implemented? Because it comes down to safety, right? If we allow non-licensed architects or whatnot, whatever the board oversees, right, and we have them going all over the place providing services when they are not licensed, that could be a potential, that's definitely a concern, right? Because there could be potential liabilities when it comes to safety or the integrity of the building. It's unsafe, things like that. So I would like to understand and ask, what is the board doing to address this issue? Because according to this statement, without the investigator, nobody's enforcing the regulations.
Yeah, thank you for your bringing to that. Was just bring that attention to us. On my part, as an appraiser, maybe I think I should have to be more aware of when we check a certain property.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can coordinate with other agencies,
Sure.
government agencies, regarding the history of that building, and probably if we find something need to be addressed, maybe I can relay that also to
Sure.
our co-members of the BPL.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Tiples. What is your understanding of your role as a board member? Is your understanding that you only deal with appraisal issues and concerns, or as a board member, you come together as a board and determine what the regulations should be for all the different professionals that you are overseeing, and then make decision as a board?
Yeah, I only concentrate on the
Is
appraisal.
that your understanding of your role as a board member?
Was this because we and the board members they have specialized
Sure. Yes.
and when the discussion or the topic that we tackled in the meeting, it's regarding appraisal. Maybe I can contribute on that.
Mm-hmm.
But with respect to other profession like engineering, no, I give that I give the leeway to my to my colleagues on that.
But as a board member, you still have a say in all the different fields of the professional licenses that you guys oversee, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
I think
And
it's,
I believe in your resume, you also listed that engineering as part of your background.
uh, during my term, I I would say that honestly, I didn't was this. I just was this. I just listened to the discussion with this the discussion from my board members because my specialty is appraisal. So
Yes.
I just
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to bring back then the question that Senator Donald had asked you, which I feel you didn't answer, which is if you were walking through a property evaluating, right, doing your evaluation, and you observed of potential concerns regarding the structure of the building as an engineer, or I don't know if you're an engineer, you're an appraiser.
appraiser.
Yes, but if you saw something that, you know, if you were walking around the property, and I don't think you need to be an engineer to determine that the integrity of the building is probably unsafe when you see cracks on the wall, or let's say for instance at IPI when you're walking up the staircase and you literally see cracks, right? Obviously that's that's a safety issue. So while you're there to do your job as an appraiser, if you observe things of that nature, and as a board member, right, would you have reported that to the board as a concerned citizen yourself? Because obviously it's a safety issue. The people who are going to go into, not necessarily IPI, it could be any other property, any building, but if you see some issues that could be potentially be a concern, would you as a board member and as a private citizen bring that concern to the board?
I think it's a good thing that yeah, I think it's not only that we state that or include that our observation in the report.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe yeah, we can know this. I think.
I mean, I'm asking you, would you?
Yeah, as like you said, as a concerned public, and as a board member, maybe we can.
I mean, you're probably going to write it in your report, but the report is going to go to the person or the business that hired you to evaluate the property so that you can give them an appraised value of that property. But what I'm asking you is whether or not you would take the information that you recorded on that report to the board to let them know that, hey, there might be some potential concerns at this property. And what do you guys as a board would do from there to ensure that the protection and safety for our community is, you know, a priority?
I think to report whatever the deficiency on the structure of the building is not my expertise, but then like visible to the
Common
eyes
sense
of
stuff, right? Like you can obviously tell when something's unsafe. Like if you see something hanging from the ceiling, right, or you just see cracks that could potentially break at any point in time, that could pose as a safety concern, right? I know you're there to do an appraisal, but while you're there as a board member overseeing these licensed professionals, right, would you personally, as a board member and as a private citizen, not only record that in your findings, but also report it to the board?
Yeah, there's a case that one property, it's obviously it's not in good condition. I informed the owner that I recommend that you have to hire a structural engineer to assess the integrity of your building, because the way I look at it, it looks like it's not safe.
Mr. Tipos, I think what Senator Kuno was trying to say as a board, because this board is created by law for the safety of our community. So it is your authority. You can stop that and make sure that deficiency is fixed before somebody gets hurt.
Yes.
I think that's what he's trying to say is as a board, not as an appraiser, but as a board, if you see deficiency, you have to stop that. I think the law gave you that authority as, because this board is created by law, giving you guys that authority.
Regulate, yes.
You don't wait for engineer to come and, you can just stop that and make sure that the people that are working on are safe.
Well,
You understand as a board?
yeah,
You have that
yes, Your
authority
Honor.
to do that.
I will do that. If,
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your answer. And I just have a couple more questions, Chair. Is the CNMI at par with the national standards and requirements, and are all the regulations under this board current?
come-
Is the CNMI at par with the national standards and requirements, and are the regulations under this board all current?
yes.
They are, okay. And last one, you talked about what your vision is for the future, and so I would like to ask you, should you be confirmed, what are your visions and expectations for the future of this board? Are there any recommendations that you'd like to offer to the board for consideration to improve or enhance existing regulations and or processes?
Well, I will only probably discuss on the side of my profession as an we are only two, or I mean three here in the CNMI, and I'm now going 66, and I am retiring in the next few years. So I mentioned that to the board that maybe we can also encourage new generation of appraisers because to hire appraisers from off-island is really expensive. I think everybody agree with that. So maybe I can recommend that here the problem here is because I also experienced this. I only do online education or distance education because we don't have available school or providers here locally that will encourage if there are if there are new generation that are interested in taking up appraisal, but the problem is we don't have here on the island providers of appraisal courses. So maybe I can probably suggest to the board that probably we can put up probably the NMC would also can offer courses regarding appraisal. Yeah.
Yes, I would highly recommend that, to work with the local colleges that we do have here in the CNMI and see if that's something that can be created as part of the program so that we can start building the workforce capacity for in that field. As you said, I think there's only 5 on island, and that's concerning, knowing that, as you guys plan to retire, who's going to replace those positions, right? And so we really do need to start taking a look and planning how can we maintain the continuity of the work that you guys do.
Actually, I encourage my kids to if they're interested to join me.
Yes.
If they want to learn about appraisal. And fortunately, my son is planning to take some courses of appraisal.
Yes. It sounds like it's a great need, because even DPL doesn't have an appraiser at DPL, and it's been vacant for quite some time now. So it sounds like we are lacking in that area. So we definitely start having conversations with our local colleges. But that's all I have, Chair. Thank you, Ayu. Thank you, Mr. Tiples.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Corina. Recognize Vice President Neighbors.
Thank you, Chairman. And if you know off the top of your head, about how much education do you need? How many years of education do you need to become an appraiser?
You have to, for training, you start, because we have, in the regulations, we have four classifications. One is trainee, and then a licensed residential appraiser, certified residential appraiser, and general certified appraiser. Now, you have to start from as trainee, and have to be supervised by a certified residential appraiser or certified general appraiser. It will take maybe good. I would like to recommend that the one that is interested to join the appraisal industry. They have to be a college graduate, at least bachelor's degree or two-year college, and it will take like maybe 5 years.
5 years after AA and BA, so under your undergrad, separate, or including the undergrad curriculum?
Let's say 2 years Bachelor of Arts, and then what's this? Because experience is very important. Experience. So it will take you. On my part, it was 5 years. 5 years before I use this. Before I, to be able to grasp what is appraisal, because appraisal is not just like go there, do the site inspection, measure the building. It's not. There are some There are some challenges or problems that you may face while on the job site. Like, for example, if you are an experienced appraiser, you might not consider, let's say, if the property has has a problem on what they call this, it's a, let's say, contaminated property. If you are not experienced appraiser, you might provide a misleading valuation. So that's why there's always the training should be guided or should be supervised, and it will take, I believe, 5 years.
Thank you for that. You, Chairman.
Thank you, Vice President Neighbors. Recognize Floor Leader Manglonia.
Thank you, Chairman. Just a few follow-up and maybe even some comments. Do you think it's BPL's role to maybe do outreach, whether it be to the college or the high school, to kind of expose our kids to some of these professions so that we can kind of steer them towards entering all these fields that are under your purview?
I think so, Your Honor. We have this scarcity of appraisers here in the Sinimay. I think we have to reach out with the college to provide courses for appraisal.
Are there any programs currently in place that where BPL is planning to do something like that, or to go out and do outreach?
So far, not yet, Your Honor.
Okay. I hope that's something. I mean, whether that may be the case, or whether the board can come up with recommendations to the legislature or to these agencies to see how we can make that shift, or what incentives we can provide so that our people can enter these fields. Do you know what percentages of what percent of the licensees are local versus outside or foreign workers?
Yeah, and first,
A rough estimate as to how many of
first in the Sinumay, the Sinumay is a small market. Two oppressors or three oppressors is okay, because more than that, it will be hard for oppressors to survive. Yeah. Probably was this like I said, in a few years we will be retiring, so I think there should be was this a new generation of oppressors to replace us in the near future, but not more than maybe only three is the most oppressors, local oppressors, because of small market.
Thank you. I just wanted to bring that up because growing up or graduating high school, I knew zero about appraisal and all of that stuff, and so just an exposure to allow students to see what options there are and what fields they can enter, so that when they leave the CNMI or even attend school here, there is a job for them to come back to. And so hopefully the outreach program could help shape that. And just in closing, this is just a general comment because we have board members here too. I did a cursory review of the current fiscal year budget and next fiscal year budget. I see there were 3 positions that were requested, 2 were approved in the current budget. I see that 3 were requested for next fiscal year, and the 3 were approved in the proposal, which includes an investigator. And so hopefully the BPL can fill that position, but in the interim, if BPL can open up that discussion with OMB or finance or even the governor to open up a position in the current fiscal year, if there's funding available, then the legislature can consider approving that FTE, so that individual can start now, seeing as how it's budgeted for next fiscal year. So hopefully that discussion can be made with the administration to get somebody on board now, so that maybe there hasn't been any cases because they know that there's no investigator, and so hopefully that could be addressed in the current fiscal year, and we can try to assist in taking somebody on board and start going out into the community and doing the assessment there. And so I just wanted to share that, since we have current members here in the gallery. That's all I have for now, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President. Recognize Senator Manny Castro.
Thank you again, Mr. Tiples, for your time. Just based on the questions answered or posed earlier, just some information about credentials that are available. Given so at NMC there's 2 bachelor's degrees that the college offers, education related and then also business. So in terms of growing the opportunities for people to go into this field, we have one available right now, a bachelor's in business. The college also offers a testing center, which is a national recognized testing center. A lot of people from different parts, even Asia, come to the testing center at NMC to take various different industry recognized tests. So that includes like even appraisal, and some are for different states. So that's available there. But I strongly encourage that the board look into either a joint venture or a MOA with a Community Development Institute at NMC. Because most of these requirements for licensure are academic credit hours and some industry. But I think that's a good partnership that maybe you should look into. If not the college, the board itself can start offering some training if that's a way to generate revenue and operational efficiency. But I agree with your sentiment. We need to start growing capacity because we don't want to wait till everyone retires and then supply and demand, it gets expensive. So thank you again for your time, and Chair, I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Senator Castro. Any other member before we proceed with our agenda? Anyone else? Again, thank you, Mr. Tiplis, for your patience in regards to this public hearing. All the concern and questions that were raised, I ask that you bring that to the board. And I'm not saying you will address it overnight, but we wish that you take that seriously. And again, thank you for your accepting this position for the second time. This time, all comments are well taken. I apologize. Can I ask Mr. McCarnas to please recognize those written letters of support or not in support? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Mr. Tiplis, and members of the general public. In addition to the oral testimonies received today on the executive appointment of Mr. Lilio B. Tiplis to serve as a member of the Board of Professional Licensing, please be advised of 3 additional written testimonies officially received in support of the appointee from Esther S. Fleming, the Executive Director for the Board of Professional Licensing, Mr. Gregorio Q. Castro, the Chairman of the Board of Professional Licensing, and from Mr. Giovanni Taitano. At this time, no written testimonies in opposition to the nominee's appointment have been received by the committee. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. McCarnas. Again, all comments are well taken. Let the record reflect that all written testimonies will be included in the Senate Standing Committee recommendation report along with oral testimonies and will be forwarded before the full Senate members in consideration for confirmation or rejection. At this time, before we adjourn, I would like to extend on behalf of the members of this committee our sincere appreciation and gratitude to Governor Palacios and Lieutenant Governor Patang's representative, Mr. Paul Regis, Amishai, and the appointee, Mr. Lilio B. Tiplis, and most especially the members of the general public for your participation and involvement during this important public hearing process. And we certainly hope that we continue this dialogue of communication between us, the elected officials, and the public to keep you abreast and informed of the current and future Senate hearings that ahead that relates to public best interest. This concludes this public hearing. Do I hear a motion for adjournment? There's a motion for adjournment and was seconded. All in favor of that motion say aye. Opposed say. Motion carried. This public hearing is now officially adjourned. Thank you.